Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a really long time since I've made one, but I want to talk about why people do not care in general about you, about people, behind the cloud that they're or the facade that they're giving you. Recently I've kind of been thinking a lot about this topic because somebody I know is very into people and uh, presence and like very authentic interactions. And um, it's fascinating to watch him interact with other people, to be in this state where he truly cares, whether somebody's there or not. For me, I can just tell. I'll be able to discern if they're there in the moment with me or not as I'm talking to them, and if they're not, I'm just like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to cut it off. No, this guy, he will literally like cut people off. He'll get angry. He'll go, no, like, are you listening to me, right? And it just begs um, this thing that's happening in society anyway, where people are just so preoccupied, right? And I guess I want to make this video to kind of just talk about how people are preoccupied, and how nowadays I feel like people are being so people are people are just not in the moment, with their not just themselves, but with their social interactions, right? I've always been somebody to crave, intimacy, presence, talking to somebody one on one. So I get this topic totally where my buddy's coming from, and uh, I wanted to kind of put it out there. If you think that people care, even your family, members and relatives, you have to remember that people are always out just for themselves, primarily. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, no, Dan, people do care about others. That's all well and true, but regardless, it's still secondary, right? When you're talking to somebody, whether you're networking or just trying to have a sincere conversation, you know, there's a really big tell, and it's whether or not people remember situations, or another good one is whether just they're listening or not. And people may think that they're listening. You may think that they're listening, but they probably not. And it's such a big deal because we want to be heard as people. I feel like I don't have that many people in my inner circle, and I have more acquaintances because people just care so much about the front, right? Like if you're a house, a lot of people just don't care about what's on the inside. A lot of people just want to see what's there in front of them, and that's why people can people get raises, or people get promoted, or people are more liked because they have a better presentation. Um, People who are more sincere, don't normally get the front stage unless they're always in that mode all the time, which is something I've been seeing. Lately is there's two different ways that people are recognized fully, and it's if you're very extreme, or uh, you're not, and you're not really seen highly, or not you're not seen highly, you're not as popular, or you're not as recognized, and you're in the background because not the majority of people don't care about sincerity, about authenticity, about exploring a deeper and meaningful kinship or friendship with you, right? And I think that's fascinating because the people that I've brought into my life personally do care. They do want to see, within and beyond the door, right? Not many people want to open the door, and so this ties into a lot of aspects of our life socially. When people either they don't get back to us, or they're always bailing on you. Um, Whether or not they agree with you, people are always self-interested in people always want you to agree with them as well. um, it's unfathomable how much I could talk, and how important this is. But essentially, you know, you know, while you're going throughout your day to day, guys, I would love for you to just, while you're talking to people, see if they remember like the first thing of your conversation, or something that you've told them, and see if they're actually there. Um, You know, it's funny because this guy I'm talking about that is very intense and extreme with people. He does this thing where he says, "I'm going to lie to you about being a doctor," and as a joke, right? But it's not a joke because then he starts talking about how he used to be a doctor, and then he goes, and then the people start to believe him because he's talking about it like it's actually real. And then he goes, I'm not a doctor though, right? And then they get so upset. They're like, you lied to me. They're like, no, I told you I'd lie to you about being a doctor. People don't pay attention. And you can just ramble on. And sometimes people just don't, they're not there because they're so preoccupied. You gotta, so like, you gotta shock people out. And it's not necessarily your place to shock them out and to bring them into presence because a lot of people don't want to be out of that preoccupying mode. People get really upset when you take them out of that mode. And if you go like, hey, like you're not listening to me, I just want you to be here and be present with me, you'd be surprised how frustrated people get when you ask them to draw more focus onto you, right? Because people have so much going on these days. They don't really stop to contemplate, to value the very person that they're in front of, right? They're just valuing you for whatever it's worth or for whatever they're taking out of it. And so it's really important to be upfront and honest. Like, listen, like it doesn't seem like you're here. Like, bring it to, people don't like being rejected. So bring it to the forefront in a nice way. If you feel that you're not getting the presence somebody wants, don't tolerate it. And hopefully we can start a trend of, bringing presence back to communication and back to, socializing with one another, not just on the surface level, but a more in-depth level because it's more gratifying. But, I wanted to make this video again because I'm just shocked by how much people they just take in and they don't even question and take in and they don't even question. Um, and, I feel like this is a very important part of our lives, and how, and also think about how you do this to others. I mean, odds are you're most likely doing this to other people and you're, in the background preoccupied or you're not present with people. And you're not totally there. But when you are there, and you're totally like, it freaks people out almost because you are paying attention, right? And I've always been somebody to always pay attention. And so when I tell people, so here's the thing, here's when people aren't, also they're preoccupied. It's when you remember something and you bring it back up because it's relevant. You go, oh yeah, I remember you told me like you went there once. And then they go, this is the key. They go, wait, I told you that? And they don't even remember what they're telling you because they're not even there. Like they're there telling you this, but because it's like just a nicety within communication, they're telling you things they don't even know they're telling, and they don't care to remember that they told you it because they don't care that they were talking to you, right? It was just like another thing to do. So, people will forget that they tell you things. People will forget that they vent to you or open up to you. People will forget how they came off to you, and it just shows where they are, right? As not as like a person, not just with you. I wouldn't take it personally that the majority of the population doesn't is not present or there with you, but try to just explore this and maybe adopt it in your behavior to, when you are with somebody, put the phone away. You don't have to think about your troubles and worries. Think to remember that moment with that person to make it something. Um, to be in the moment with it, right? Because people value other people that pay attention to them. It's just how people work. We like to be liked, right? So that's just some tidbits of the thoughts I had for today. Um, Hopefully you guys notice something like this. We'd love to hear your thoughts and comments down below in terms of maybe a situation of how this is being done to you or you're doing it to other people. Love feedback. If you want to see more, another kind of, if you want to ask me a question about this in a different way, just drop it down in the comments. Again, remember to subscribe and like, and I will talk to you guys soon.